So now we have our selfie drone. Finally, we're going to give it a little bit of a test run and get it set up. So first thing I want to do is I want to pull out, I forgot to mention in the previous video that there is a 16 gigabyte micro SD card included in there. It was hiding underneath the charger base there. So we're going to go ahead and pull out the drone. Put the card over there. We don't need anything under there, so we can move this aside for now. I gotta say though, I really like that case. So now what we want to do is we want to insert the micro SD card first. Get that taken care of. Due to the flight time and the ability to transfer onto your phone, I think 16 gig will be more than sufficient. So now we do have the micro USB port on the back as well. So, okay, so it'll be the gold bands on the micro SD card that go up to the top of the drone. So we'll put that in. You'll feel it click in there. So once you feel it click in there, then you will be good to go. That's going to be in there. I do think you can transfer your photos and that through this as well, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm not even too sure if you can charge off of that. That'd be kind of cool, but I'll look into that more. But for now, what we're going to do is we're going to get our little bumper pads here, and we're going to get those installed because we don't want to wreck it. So we're going to go ahead and just pop these on each corner. They're pretty snug in there. Really nice. I'd actually like to maybe 3D print and try making some beefier ones to go on there. One thing I do think that they should have done was probably added 2 different colored bumpers to start, so that way you know exactly which orientation on the drone is actually the front of it, so that way you know for sure that your camera is where you want it to be. So I would even suggest taking something and maybe some nail polish or paint or whatever you have lying around, and just kind of paint in a couple of these side little I don't know, teardrop eye whatever grooves on them, or do the whole entire casing if you have but watch out with your paints if you decide that to spray paint it. Make sure it's not going to eat away at it. So now we have that set up. What I want to do is I want to remove the battery component here. Today all we're doing is we are setting up the app on our cell phone here. So now I'm just going to put the battery in. Go. So now, you see we got some flashing going on. That means she's doing something. So now I'm gonna go onto my cell phone here, and I'm gonna go to connect. And I'm going to try to find the Rova, and there it is right there. But I'm connected to this, my network here. So what I want to do is I want to forget that. What I've done as well is, and this is just 8 zeros when you go to 6, 7, 8, and then connect. Basically what I did was I removed all the networks I don't use, and I forgot all of them as well. And then I went into my settings here and went to advanced, and I turned off network notifications and pass point. So hopefully it will not be an issue with it when it comes down to anything I can do to prevent it from having more interference through my cell phone. I wanted to try to do that. And another thing I'm going to do is turn off a bunch of the major app notifications that I get. And I want to make sure that all my background apps are closed. So I actually closed my Rova app. So I'll reconnect here. But I'm already connected to the Wi-Fi on it. So now I'm going to go to settings. And it's going to give me options in the settings here. I don't know how well you can see it here. I'm going to go to video, and it has options for 1080 at 60 frames per second and 30 frames per second. Now, for the most part, I think 30 frames per second is going to be ideal. That's what my actual camera is running in as well. So I'm going to leave that. And then for the photo mode, I want to up that to the 12 meg. Just because if I do take a photo, I want it to be a lot more usable versus the 5 meg. So flight mode, you can set it up right away, which mode you want it in for your default setting. You can choose drone mode or selfie mode on that screen there. I'm just going to leave it in the drone mode because that's what I would ideally like to use. So in the control orientation, you can have your pitch and roll on your left control, and then your throttle and yaw on the right one, or you can have it to the standard, which is the throttle on the left and pitch on the right. And that's where I'm going to keep it. But good to know it's there. And then it has a Wi-Fi password. So let's say you're flying multiple Rovas and you want to make sure nobody connects to yours. You're going to want to change your current password to a new password. And then firmware version, I don't think we can actually update it. It's just going to let us know that it is that. And feedback, you can only access that, which is kind of funny. You can only access it with when you're connected to the internet. So if you're using a device that doesn't have 3G on it or 4G, you're not going to be able to access the feedback part because you can't get to it. You can't get to the settings portion of this without actually being connected to your Rova. So it does have a help section, basically how to set it up. So make sure you get yourself familiar with that ahead of time, so that way you can kind of see. I do love the camera angles on it. And then it tells you basically, just everything about it. And then you can access the camera roll on the Rova itself. I have no images there, so nothing there. And then camera roll here, and that's just photos that I've transferred from my Rova over to my phone. So now if I go for launch, it's going to go to connecting. Let's turn it to there, just so it's not a crotch shot. So now on here, on your main display, it's going to tell you how much battery you have. This is the liftoff button. I don't like the location of that because when you're actually using your controls here, I wish the controls were down just a little bit. Or this button here was in the middle or the bottom right or on the side panel. So unfortunately it's not, so we have to just kind of deal with that. You have the avoidance. You have reverse controls, because you might accidentally hit that launch button, or when you have it flying, it's going to be your automatic landing. So that's why it's kind of annoying, because you'll be up in the air and your thumb will hit it for some reason. It happened to me. And then you have your joysticks. You can set it to whatever orientation you want. If you want to do motion control and all that fun stuff. Video, you can do the 360 video or photo mode. We're just going to keep that where it is. You got your home button, your information button. I don't even know what's in there. It's going to tell you all the settings here and what does what. And then calibration is this one here. And then it'll actually tell you to first place your Rova on a stable, flat, horizontal surface. And calibration is complete when the activation button stops flashing. Well, mine, I think, actually did the calibration already. I'm not too sure. Down below here, you have your options to do your record, your screenshot, and then you have your flash on and off, which is on the front of the Rova. And as you can see, give you a little example here, and then I'll turn it off. Oh, maybe it won't work that well because it's pretty well lit here. But anyways, it has a decently okay light on it. Not something that you're gonna be like, oh wow, about. But if you're doing close shots with things, then it's not going to be too bad. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just, when you calibrate, you always want to make sure the camera is facing you and your device. So that way it knows the orientation, and that is what's going to happen. So what I'm going to do to calibrate is hit the red button here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then calibrate. Hold down the button here. And then it's flashing there. And as soon as it stops flashing, we're good to go. Okay, so what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to go outside where I have a little bit more room to let it actually lift off and see what happens. Okay, so after first test flight, a little bit of wind outside, it was so-so. So right now, I'm going to call it good for today. Test flight was good. The battery needs to charge, so I'm going to let it do that. So thanks for watching, everyone. You have a great day, a great week, and take care, eh? See you next time.